after class. The quizzes were really bad, the first one, which is fine. That's to be expected when you have just started a new curriculum, just started a new class, or getting used to all this stuff and doing it online. So I totally understand that being bad. So because of that, I told you guys that you would get 3/4 points back for your corrections. So corrections, if you would write this down real quick, I'll give you a minute to grab a pen and paper if you don't have it. Corrections must include, I'll do attendance after class, it'll be fine. So attendance must include several things. Let me switch these screens again. Okay. Okay, so corrections, quiz corrections must include several things. They have to include, and I don't want you to, so first of all, do not write on the original quiz. This isn't as big of a deal online because I already have an image of the copy of your original quiz, but I don't want you to put your corrections on your original quiz. It needs to be on a separate sheet of paper. So put on separate paper. And it can be notebook paper, I don't care what it is, okay? With your corrections, you must include the correct solution. Okay, and a statement of what you did wrong the first time, and then why your new answer is correct. Okay. If you get all of your new answers correct, there are correct solutions, then for this quiz you get 3/4 back. Normally you get half your points back. Okay, so this means if you got a 0 on the original, you could get up to a 50. Okay, but with this, with the 3/4 points back, you would get up to a 75. If you just didn't do the quiz, or if you got a 0 on it.
If you got a 0, if it's multiple choice, you have to be trying, right?
You will never have a multiple choice quiz.
I mean, theoretically, a multiple choice test
not going to go for something theoretical that's not going to happen. Do you have a separate question?
Sorry.
Okay, so okay, so are there questions on this particular stuff for quiz corrections? Okay. Okay, another thing. So on your quizzes and tests, I had this written out in the instructions, so I'm pretty frustrated that it wasn't followed by a lot of you. But I'm not going to count it against you, even though I wrote it in the instructions on the quizzes and the tests we've done so far. But starting today, you have a quiz today. This must be done, and if you do not do it, I will take off points. So all answers that you want graded must be in the box. Okay. For those of you who don't have a printer and are writing it out on notebook paper, obviously there's not going to be a box for you, and that's okay. You can like write out a problem kind of like we did our warm-up, as long as your work and your answer are together in order and make sense. If you printed out the quiz, so the quiz had like question 1 and then it had stuff and then it has a box for all of your stuff to go inside. If you put your work like up here amidst the words, I'm not going to grade it in the future. If you just put your answers in here, and then even if you did work on a separate sheet of paper, I am not going to grade that from now on. The work must be in the box. And this was in the instructions on the quiz. So I really need you guys to do that. I didn't take off points for the first quiz. I'm not going to take it off for the second quiz or the test. But if you do it on today's quiz, I will give you marks for your answers that you put in there, but that's going to be like 1 mark out of 7 for each problem. That's not the full credit, okay? So I need your work to be in the boxes. Are there questions about that? Okay, so you guys are IB. I expect you to be able to read directions and follow them. So please do that. Your quiz corrections, I'm going to open up the quiz again and have you resubmit. Does this assignment, does this sound reasonable, or would you guys like me to open up a whole new assignment that are called quiz corrections?
I think resubmitting it in the same place makes more sense.
Okay, so
It's probably less hassle for you.
Perfect. I will open up the quiz today after class, and you can just resubmit, and I will know that your second submission will be your corrections. Okay, are there questions now that we've covered our like quiz stuff? Your quiz corrections, I'm gonna make them, so I will have everybody's first quiz graded today, and I will give you a full week to have quiz corrections in. So let's see, what date would that be? I'm gonna open the assignment back up to Monday the 28th. So for this first quiz, for the midpoints, volume, and surface area, it will be due September 28th. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is first quiz corrections due date. And the quiz corrections can literally just be on notebook paper. That's fine. You don't have to reprint out the quiz. I'll be able to see your first version of the quiz. Okay, are there any other questions on quiz corrections? Okay, so we're gonna move on from that. Sorry that we started off on a Monday by me yelling at you. That's not fun. I apologize. I just was grading quizzes right before we started. I was a little frustrated. Okay, so we are starting a new idea today, a new concept. We are doing applications of non-right triangles. And I kind of want to go, so these applications are not necessarily the most commonly used in daily life applications. So I'm going to go over some vocabulary first. So the first thing that we talk about is bearings. Okay, anybody have any idea what that is?
Like direction, right?
Yeah, good, Avanish. So it's an angle measurement or measured. Okay, and it has to do with our directions. Okay, when you find a bearing, you always start at the north and then travel clockwise from the north. Okay, so I'll do an example to make this a little bit more clear, because if I were learning this the first time and I was just given what I just wrote down, this would not make much sense to me. So I'm going to give you an example. So a ship travels from point A to point B, 40 kilometers on a bearing of 135 degrees. Okay. So what this means, so if we draw out like a little compass where we have north, south, east, and west, this means that our ship has gone 135 degrees from the north. So starting at point A, ending at point B, they've gone 135 degrees from the north, and they've gone 40 kilometers in that direction. What questions do you have? Okay, so no questions? Do you guys need a minute to write and draw that out, or are you ready to move on to the next piece?
I need a minute.
Okay.
Also, can I go get some medication? I really don't feel well.
What did you ask for?
Could I go grab something?
Oh, of course. Yeah, go ahead. Any other questions before we do the next piece? Okay. All right, so the next bit we're going to talk about is compass directions. And I know, so these are just really definitions, and the examples don't show examples for problems that we would do with non-right triangles. This is just an example to kind of help define the term, okay? We will do problems with examples that have non-right triangle applications in a minute, once we complete these. Oops, I spelled compass wrong. Okay, so when we're talking about compass directions, we are going to be given a direction, an angle, and another direction. Okay. The first direction is where we start. So we start here. Okay. We start at that direction. Then we go however many degrees towards the second direction. Okay. And I'll give you an example that helps make this make a little bit more